Welcome all to the intimacy portion of our relationship enhancement workshop. I'm Captain Jason Ruggieri, and along with Captain Latoya Brown, we're going to be presenting on ideas surrounding defining what intimacy is, understanding how it's expressed, and what we can do to help it grow, change, and develop across the span of a relationship, and just some overall takeaways on how to strengthen the communication necessary to keep that process ongoing in strengthening your personal relationship with your partner. To prepare you for the workshop, really all you need is an open mind, a willingness to be vulnerable with your partner, and a pen and paper just in case you need to take some notes. We highly encourage you to pause the videos as needed, to use the audio in any way, shape, or form that you feel is necessary for you and your partner to communicate. But before we get into any of the content here today, we need to express that our views herein are those of just the presenters, Captain Ruggieri, myself, and Captain Latoya Brown, and they do not purport to reflect the position of the United States Air Force, nor the Department of Defense, Military Affairs, or any other government agency. Now, if you can get yourselves comfortable, sit with your partner, grab that pen and paper. We'll begin by starting on how to define what exactly intimacy is. Thanks all for listening. What is intimacy? Well, the foundations of intimacy are all about the process. It's really a set of interactions that occur across time where social partners, in this case romantic partners, result in sharing personal and private thoughts and feelings. They come to understand each other, appreciate each other, and feel cared for and validated by each other through this interaction. It's really a desire to be open, vulnerable, and emotionally close with another person. In romantic relationships, this emotional closeness is at the heart of what intimacy is all about. But it's not the only component of intimacy there is. The way we'll go over what intimacy is, we'll cover different types of intimacy. We'll cover how intimacy is expressed and ways in which to test the health of your own intimacy. But first, we need to understand what intimacy is after. Intimacy is after, especially in a romantic relationship, what's called consummate love. And it's only one component of what fully fledged, fulfilling love is all about. It's a requisite third of the commitment, passion, and intimacy that is required to develop this kind of long-lasting, deeply fulfilling, emotionally rewarding love. So with intimacy, what we need to understand is that this process looks different for all couples, and the goals and values and beliefs that go along with intimacy on the individual level affect what the person thinks about intimacy and how they deem the couple, their partner, or you yourself are doing with regards to creating intimacy and fostering it in your relationships. So given that we've created this definition of intimacy as a process of getting close, open, and vulnerable with one another, let's take a brief pause to discuss with your partner what they think intimacy looks like and the kinds of intimate bonds they wish to have with the partner. Honor those differences that may result in the discussion that you have. So go ahead, pause the video, discuss for a while, and take some notes on what your findings were. Now that you've discussed a little bit about what you think intimacy is, and you've really honored those differences, let's introduce just briefly the 4 different kinds of ways that we can express our intimacy for one another. Take a look at the next section of this video for types of intimacy. Now that we've established that intimacy and romantic relationships are a deep and meaningful set of complex interpersonal processes, wherein the result is that romantic partners are after a closeness for one another, a meaningful connection, an authenticity, an understanding, and a validation of each other through all things, even if it includes honoring your differences that may not be able to be resolved over time. Consummate love is what intimacy tries to help generate, but it's only one portion of consummate love. So now that we've understood and we're on the same page in regards to the definition of intimacy, let's look at and discuss the types of intimacy we use to generate this interpersonal process and foster that closeness and connection that we're after. As you can see, physical intimacy is only 1/4 of this representation of the different types of intimacy. Although when we think about intimacy in everyday conversation, it's often that we refer to intimacy related to romantic partners as their sex life. The kinds of sexual intercourse acts that they're able to engage in, the comfort with which they are able to display affection in public, and overall their kind of private closeness that may involve behaviors like hugging, kissing, massages, sexual touch, cuddling, and just an overall willingness to be in close proximity with one another. But again, it's only 1/4 of what this intimacy equation is all about. Emotional and mental intimacy are psychological forms of intimacy, with emotional intimacy being about affirming the partner's emotions, whether or not you share the same deep and meaningful emotions, or you're conveying very different emotions from your partner. It's a caring and an interest in each other's overall feelings. Whereas mental intimacy is being stimulated by one another's intellectual pursuits, attributes, shared values, differing interests, and overall that typically gets engaged through conversation. Communication is another component of this relationship enhancement workshop that you can look up and go through that area of the workshop. So we won't spend too much time talking about communication, but let's talk about that last part of intimacy, and that involves spiritual intimacy. As you can see from the definition here, it involves a respect for one another's beliefs, a shared purpose that nurtures and offers each other an inner tranquility. This can come in the form of religiosity, and it can come in the form of a spiritual philosophy with regards to how you see you and your partner in the world amongst bigger things than just your relationship. So if you take all of these aspects of intimacy into account, these are the kinds of things that foster a closeness and connection that feeds one's consummate love and fosters a healthy relationship. So let's take a moment. Return back to that notepad and paper and look at what you talked about in terms of defining intimacy. Now, pause this video and talk about the ways in which you think you're doing well or want to do better in terms of the types of intimacy you're incorporating into your relationship. Now that you've discussed with your partner a little bit about how you see the types of intimacy in your relationship get incorporated, let's take a look at the next section of this video where we get into the hows of intimacy.
Roadblocks to intimacy. There can be many challenges or roadblocks to intimacy. Intimacy takes individuals' willingness to be vulnerable within their relationships. Thus, one of the roadblocks to intimacy is a couple's comfort level in sharing personal experiences. Individuals entering into an intimate relationship bring to the relationship their own familial experience about intimacy. This includes child rearing and familial patterns on intimacy. Individuals may grow up in a home where a family is too close, or the opposite, in which a family unit does not encourage emotions or intimacy. Pause this recording now and take time to ask your partner, how was intimacy modeled for them and their family? See the differences? Knowing how intimacy is modeled in your childhood home can help couples recognize what patterns that they are bringing into their current home. Social constructs about intimacy also could be a roadblock to intimacy. According to Roland S. Miller, 2018, society may place emphasis on stereotypical gender roles as it relates to intimacy. Additionally, social constructs may inadvertently inform couples what is considered quote unquote appropriate expressions of intimacy. Cultural differences can also impact how intimacy is experienced. Different cultural and religious aspects may encourage or forbade certain facets of intimacy. For example, social constructs, cultural, and religious factors may play a role in how intimacy is displayed in a public environment. Pause this recording and take 1 or 2 minutes now to talk to your partner about cultural and society influences that they have regarding intimacy. If you've been following along in this podcast, make sure to use your I statements you learned from effective communication. As you can see, there are many cultural and social aspects that play a role in the way that we look at intimacy. And having these conversations, you'll find that these aspects may be something that you would not like to continue to incorporate in your relationship, while other aspects you would like to enhance. Lastly, a roadblock to intimacy is what individuals bring into their relationship in relation to their personal experiences. This could include an individual's past relationships, bad experiences with being vulnerable, trust issues, and a fear of intimacy. Issues related to trust are typically a crucial bedrock in being vulnerable. It is important to note that trust can be capsulated as well as broad. For example, a person may trust their partner's financial decisions, but have problems with trusting their partner from a fidelity standpoint. Now, these trust issues could be something that is encapsulated in just that one problem and that one domain, or it can be broadened and generalized. Take this time now to pause this recording to talk to your partner about the domains in which you trust your partner. Next, take this time to ask your partner in which ways do you show that you trust your partner in these domains. Overall, it's important that both partners understand what viewpoints about intimacy, to of course include familial, cultural, social, and personal experiences that they bring into a relationship. Having conversations like these about these viewpoints can help turn roadblocks into passageways. All right, guys, let's get intimate. So, world-renowned organization, the Gottman Institute, has dedicated focus and expertise on research-based approaches to relationships. The following activities will be based on this research. Gottman's Institute has many activities that can begin to turn the wheels towards intimacy. Hopefully by now, you and your partner have gone through this workshop feeling more confident and well-versed in communication skills and are ready to get intimate. So one of the activities within the Gottman program is what's called the 6-second kiss. How this works is before parting in the morning to your respectable schedules, spend 2 minutes with your partner to discover at least one thing that will happen in his or her day. Then say goodbye with at least 6-second kiss. You can practice this now. So let's pause this recording and spend about 1 or 2 minutes discussing some highlights of your day and then end it with a kiss. Go ahead. Great job. Another activity is about expressing admiration and appreciation. Frequent expression of admiration and appreciation are key building blocks to a loving relationship. So of course you know what I'm going to say. Let's practice this. I want you guys to try this now. Spend about 1 or 2 minutes exchanging something that you like about your partner's personality. Now make sure that you couple this with an example of an actual event or incident. For example, I love that you are so sweet. Like, for instance, when you gave me those words of encouragement before my presentation. So let's give it a try. Awesome. Hey guys, do not forget your manners. Please and thank you go a long way. When you see your partner doing something you appreciate, say thank you. In fact, let's try this. So let's pause this recording and use about 1 or 2 minutes to thank your partner for something that you appreciated. Go ahead. Now that wasn't so hard. Some other ways that you can show admiration and appreciation include sending or emailing or posting love notes, letting them know that you're thinking about them throughout the day. Now, Gottman Institute encourages that you spend at least 5 minutes a day practicing the art of admiration and appreciation. And lucky for you guys, you've already practiced, so you're almost halfway there. Now that you guys have gotten some good practice, you're on your way to put it all together. So one of the last activities is called the reunion. The reunion is a way to build in stress-reducing conversations. Did you know how you manage stress turns out to be very critical? Research has shown that couples who buffered their relationship from external stresses were able to maintain their relationship changes over time. Utilizing what you've learned in our workshop, use these tools to have an open conversation in which the speaker can express stressful aspects of their day, while the listener provides support and genuine interest. And once you're done, switch the roles. So let's practice this. Take about 2 minutes taking turns, where first 2 minutes someone's the speaker and the other person's the listener, and then switch and let the other person be the listener and that person the speaker. Let's give it a try. Good. It is recommended that you engage in this activity at least 5 days a week for 20 minutes. You guys can do it. Lastly, I want to make sure that we incorporate the fact that we should be encouraging at least weekly commitments to have a special date night for just the two of you for a minimum of at least 2 hours. A weekly date does not have to be something extravagant and breaking the bank. It can be something relaxing, low-key, low stress, and a way to just connect and get to know your partner utilizing those newfound open-ended questions that you learned in our workshop. So take time during the week to plan out these special times where you guys can reconnect and talk about things that'll help with intimacy, okay? Do not let the world distractions and things that are going on prevent you from ensuring that you're keeping those times for you and your partner, okay? It's sacred time. So use that time to laugh often. If you're at home doing a Netflix and chill, sit close to each other. Engage in a movie or a show in which you guys are both very invested in. Pop some popcorn, just be able to connect with each other. In fact, what you guys can do right now is spend this time to figure out when's the next time that you're going to put on the calendar the date night. Pause this recording, whip out that calendar, and find a date for when you guys are going to make this commitment to have this special date night. We really hope that this segment of the workshop on intimacy has been helpful in either beginning the journey towards intimacy or strengthening your current intimate bond. We have discussed what is intimacy, the types of intimacy, roadblocks to intimacy, and some strategies that you can implement today to engage in intimate activities. Keep in mind that intimacy is a process and unique to your relationship. We hope that you enjoy the rest of this workshop.